Yeah, I totally blame the fan base. I blame you guys for all the people who are
Well,
listening
for
to us
not
here in
making enough
Atlanta.
noise
Yeah, yeah, you guys suck. If your
or
team has to do
whatever.
that,
They make,
yeah, if your team has to do that,
well,
yeah, you're to blame. You have a
nah,
then you play in a dome. Like that's the easiest place to cheer. All the sound is
look,
bottled in.
I don't look, man. I don't know. Look again. I don't know why they even started. That's kind of stupid to me, man. I mean, and then the fact that you know that it's against the rules.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, to even and now you costed yourself a draft pick. We don't know what round it's going to
well,
be. If it's going to be
he
this
doesn't know
year
that
or
it's going to be a
next year.
draft pick. He doesn't know it's going to be a draft pick, but he's preparing.
But if it
for
is,
to be.
well, I'm saying if it is, they don't know if it's going to be for this year's draft or next year's draft. Because if it's for this year's draft, just imagine we're right around the corner from that. So how do you, and especially if it's a you know, something maybe like a third, fourth, fifth, like how do you really make up for that? I mean, you know, you done what you did in free agency. You didn't really make any, you know, major splashes in free agency. I mean, but if you get that, if you get a third round pick taken away from you this year, how do you respond? You know, what do you do to make up for being, you know, for losing such a quality draft pick?
There's no making up for it. It is what it is. But if you had a player that was slotted at that position, there's still more free agents to be had. You know, at reasonable prices, depending on, you know, it's not going to be your first, so you'll get your pass rusher. It won't be your second. So if you decide to go, I don't know, safety, or if you decide to go D-line again or O-line, I read something the other day that Sam Baker could be possibly moving to guard. This is why I tell people all the time about drafting tackles. Like, you really don't lose. You don't lose because inevitably, if it don't pan out, kick him inside. Kick him inside and make him tackles. Like Robert Gallery got picked high. Didn't work out at tackle. Made Pro Bowls for the Raiders before retiring at guard. Leonard Davis, same thing. Tried to play tackle over there with the Cardinals. Got with the Cowboys. They bumped his big butt inside to guard. Pro Bowls. You don't really lose. If you draft a tackle, you know, of course you wanted a tackle. You wanted a left tackle. But if it don't work out, you know, you still got 10 years of service from a guy that at multiple positions if you play it right. Or if he's good enough to make the transition. We'll see here in Atlanta if Sam Baker can make the transition if they decided that's what they're going to do with him. As far as making up for the draft pick, you don't. You know, it happens. Mistakes were made, or I hate doing that too. It's not a mistake because someone consciously did it, so it's not a mistake. But you got caught with your hand in the bread basket or the cookie jar or whatnot, and you know you have to pay your penance for it, and you move on. You know, if you're the Falcons, you move on. You can't necessarily cry over the spilled milk. It happened and it's over. Speaking of pass rushers, yesterday we didn't get a chance to get into this Randy Gregory thing. The young man out of the outside linebacker out of Nebraska who admitted to failing his drug test at the NFL Combine. This is an issue I kind of stand on a couple different sides of this. You know, I'm the guy who always says, who repeatedly says that the NFL is going to find out how wrong they were with their drug policy, with the current way they have their drug policies situated as far as marijuana goes. They're going to find out very, very soon that whole thing is just so antiquated. But on the other hand, it's like, my man, to me, it's the same thing as if you show up at an interview high.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is.
And his thing was that, you know, he hadn't smoked since December, but it was still in his system. This is why he decided to self-report, for lack of a better word, to kind of get it out there.
30 days.
He said he had some issues with the marijuana previously, but it's nothing. It's not like he doesn't feel like he has an addiction. He feels as though, you know, he's ready to move on with the words he used. I think he said he's ready to move on and pursue his dream. And you know, I don't really. Bomani Jones said it best. He's like, you smoke all you want to, just don't fail the test. Like, no one cares if you smoke. No one in the NFL really cares if you smoke. They don't. They know. Most of these dudes do. A good number of dudes in the NFL smoke weed. The fact is, you just got to pass the test. You can't miss work.
Yeah, I mean, what it does is it causes it plays and creates a situation where people start to look at your decision making.
Yeah.
Because again, nobody cares about you smoking weed, but if you know that you have this big job interview, you know, like the combine is gonna make you or break you a lot of times as far as, you know, where you're gonna get drafted, you know, your value and all of that. So, you know, if you're willing to smoke weed and you know you have the biggest test of your life coming up, but you're willing to smoke it, and you know, that just says something about your character and about your decision-making ability.
Yeah, and, I mean, he'll be all right because he's a hell of a ball player. And I always say it, talent wins out. He'll be all right. Like, if he falls, it'll be a couple of slots, you know what I mean? Because there's a premium for people who do what he does. Big, angry black men who can go and run down quarterbacks. There's a premium price to pay for those guys. But, like you say, it does raise concerns because you don't want to miss him work. You know, Josh Gordon is one of those guys. You know, he's an immense talent, but his choices to partake in the marijuana have now cost him a year. You know, and probably when it's all said and done, if you add up all the suspensions, maybe about 2 years of his career will be lost to him. Well, will be lost to him smoking marijuana, but also lost to an antiquated drug policy within the NFL. So I can't leave that out. You know, I think the drug policy in the NFL is a joke.
And even if they change the policy, those are 2 years that he can't get back.
I mean, they did. They changed it. They just changed it, as a matter of fact, last year. Remember?
Well, I'm just saying for those.
They let Wes Welker back after him testing positive for Molly because they changed the policy, and he had to come back earlier than he would have because the policy had changed or whatever. But it just didn't, in this case, apply. Even Josh Gordon came back early. Remember? He played last year when it was supposed to be.
I thought that was because they came back. They came back and said that the test he took showed that he wasn't lying. Like the levels weren't elevated to the point.
He said that, and the scientists said that, but the NFL wasn't budging. Like the scientists said that stuff, but no, the NFL wasn't budging. What happened was they changed the drug policy, so it shortened his suspension, and he had to come back and play last year. And then when the season was over with, he had a drink. He said he had a drink on a plane, and then he tested positive for alcohol after that. So now he's suspended indefinitely until he applies after a year when he can apply for reinstatement. Got about 7.5 minutes here. We got just enough time.
That's the most expensive drink ever.
Yeah. Got enough time to talk about Rob's favorite guy, Michael Sam. Before we talk about that, really quick. Really quick.
My favorite guy.
Yeah, real quick.
What did that happen?
This is a little short thing here. Ray Rice is selling his Baltimore mansion. Apparently, he's already sold it for $899,000. He'll be moving back to his hometown in New York to, I guess, start the rest of his life, man. You know, he's got a couple $1 million from some grievances he's filed. He'll now have another close to $900,000 in his pocket from the sale, of his Baltimore mansion. So, it's the NFL, man.
Good luck.
At some point, you got to move on.
Good luck.
You got to move on. He's going back to a place where people love him, his hometown. So, I don't know if I necessarily.
Yeah, but New Yorkers are so rude, and it's just
he's not from New York City. He's from like some place called Rochester or somewhere upstate New York.
Upstate New York. Oh yeah, because I'm thinking they see him in the street, they like, you idiot,
and
that's
a crazy generalization too. That's like saying all Southerners are polite.
We're not. I know that, man. I know that.
We're not.
I know.
All right, now back to Michael Sam with about 6 minutes here left in the show. Michael Sam sat down and did an interview with Shereen Williams of the Star Telegram. The former Dallas Cowboys practice squad member declared that he knows of multiple NFL players who are gay. Here's what Mr. Sam had to say. I am not the only gay person in the NFL. I'm just saying there's a lot of us. I respect the players that did reach out to me and had the courage to tell me that they were also gay. But they do not have the same courage as I do to come out before I even played it down in the NFL. His other quote is, the players who have reached out to me and told me about the sexual orientation, it just means a lot, Sam said. But I will never say anything about who they are, what teams they are on. I'm just saying there are some famous people, and I'm not the only one. Like, I have a huge problem. Like, now, this dude is starting to turn into something different. Like, that ain't your gig, man. That's not your gig.
Well, Jason Collins said the same thing, though. He was like, remember? He was like, no. I'm waiting. I'm like, come on, guys.
This
I'm
is
not
different.
the only one.
Because now what you're doing is you're trying to put yourself above somebody else. When the reality
Yeah.
is, what happened with you was going to happen anyway. Like, I gave you the credit for getting out in front of it before it happened, but you told people that you knew people were talking at the Senior Bowl. Scouts were talking like, we're hearing that this dude Sam's maybe a homosexual. So you trying to put yourself on this pedestal like, look how much courage I had, and they have none. Miss me with it, homeboy. Come on, like that's not the reality of what happened. And all the stuff that you're missing is in writing. It came out of your mouth. You sat down and told people that you knew that your secret was going to come out and you wanted to control the narrative. Sure, I'm all about that. You do it because it's always worse when it comes out the other way. But now, for you to be like, yeah, those people who told me about their secret, they don't have the same courage that I do. Like, you could have just left it at, yeah, I know there's other players in the NFL that are gay, because the reality is, and I found out what the actual number is. The actual number is 20%. So that's one out of, what is that? What's 20%? That's five out of every 20 people. Yeah, five out of every 20 people are gay.
You're talking about the 53-man roster?
People. So that's men and women. So you can assume out of 1,500 NFL players, yeah, there are a few guys that are gay. That's why when you text me that day, I was like, "Thanks, Captain Obvious." Yeah, you know what I mean. But for him to now,
what I text you was him saying that he's not the only one in the NFL, and I'm like, well, technically, you're not in the NFL. That's what I was just being.
Point being, I just don't think that it's his right. Now, yeah, okay, you're not saying names, whatever, fine, but still, you know what I mean. I just felt a certain kind of it felt like snitching without being snitching, if that makes sense. And then for you to try to like prop yourself up on their backs as though, yeah, I'm the leader in this, and you guys just don't have the courage I have. Well, if you're talking about people who are actually in the NFL, the one thing they do have is NFL checks coming too.
A job.
So there's that. You know what I mean? There's that. Work on that before you start proclaiming yourself. I'm just saying there's some famous people. I'm not the only one, because now you've put yourself into a Kardashian state of mind. You understand what I'm saying? Like, now you're proclaiming your fame and all this kind of stuff. All right, cool, my man. Enjoy the CFL. Enjoy it. And it ain't me putting the CFL down. One of my best friends is a coach up there. He's a head coach up there. So, he's making some nice money. My other homeboy just told me that they bought like a summer home somewhere. So I was like, good for him. In Arizona, I think, somewhere. I was like, yeah, okay. CFL money does spend in America. You know what I mean? So it's all good. But I just felt a certain way when reading this, man. It's like, if you're going to be that dude, if you're going to advocate for something, man, like, be strong enough to
make it your call.
Like,
just make it your call.
If you got to stand on your own for a minute. And then when the same way, when you was ready, kind of, you did your thing. When whomever is ready, they'll do their thing. When whomever else is ready, they'll do their thing. But it ain't for you to be like, yeah, guys call me all the time telling me how they're gay. All right. Cool, man. Cool, dude. I'm good.
Who's calling you, Michael? Who's calling you?
It's just, I don't know, man. It's like, stay humble, homeboy. Do that. Just stay humble, man, because no one needs that. Like, no one needs that added, especially if someone is already, like, because you don't know who people are speculating is, like, within their locker room.
Now, anytime you see somebody talking to Michael Sam, you go like, oh, that.
Well, not even that. If there's just a dude that someone's skeptical of, you kind of, I don't know. And I hate using the word doing what we do, saying I don't know because I should know, but it just made me feel in reading it like, this is more about you and the fact that you heard what people said about where your NFL career is, non-existent, and you want to maintain relevance, and you're doing it in a bad way. Practice on your 40. Do that. We have about 30 seconds left for the weekend, man. I think me and the old lady gonna get some dinner tomorrow out at the Blue Willow Inn. You ever been there?
Been to where?
The Blue Willow Inn.
You
gotta try it, man. You can Google it or whatever. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the week, man, and almost for the month. 4 weeks down. Hopefully 4 more to go, 4 more successful ones. Sports Kings Podcast, Spreaker.com. Make sure you hit us up, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Sports Kings Live, and at our email address, sportskingslive@gmail.com.